Welcome to Positive Vibes. We're making positivity and gratitude louder in a podcast world with Shane Nicolich. That's me. um, yeah, this is my first. This is actually my first live video for my podcast. I was offered this. It was presented. This opportunity was presented to me, and so here I am. Here it goes. Back in the day, I had dreams of being on the radio when I was a teenager. That was, one of my dreams was to become a DJ on the radio, which I, had a little experience doing that, helping out a friend. But anyway, here I am, and this is like a totally new opportunity. And I'm sort of nervous, nervous about it, but then it's like I'm sort of not because, I was thinking this morning, being nervous about this. Why be nervous about it? When I went and met Gary Vee when he spoke in Portland, Oregon back in 2017, I just got up on the mic during Q&A and, introduced myself, said, "Hey, Gary, what's up?" So, hey, world, what's up? Anyway, yeah, positive vibes, just spreading positivity, optimism, and gratitude. You know, like the shot I shared on my screenshot I shared on my Facebook and Instagram this morning. Gary Vee holding up a coffee cup that says, "My positivity, comes from my gratitude." And that's just it. I'm super, super grateful for everything in my life. And that's where my positivity and optimism come from. Is just being grateful for everything in my life. It's like, sure, there have been times when I was really down and hating life and hating circumstances, but in the end, it's like, got to be grateful for it because it leads to the next step. The next, it's a step in life, a stage, a staging point for the next spot you're going to get to, the next spot in life. Yeah, and I totally dropped the ball. I was going to, I fully intended to have a guest, someone to interview this morning for my first podcast, or my first live video podcast, but totally dropped the ball on that, and so I'm doing it on my own. Like I told a friend this morning when I was chatting with her on Facebook, I was just going to sort of freestyle this, and that's what I'm doing right now, is just freestyling. Yeah, positive vibes, and that's what it's all about, just spreading positivity. Back in the day, when I focused, it's all about focus and perspective and mindset for me. Back in the day, and even still the moments I have today, as opposed to full time back in the day when I focused on negative points, negativity, my quote unquote disabilities, traumatic brain injury, and multiple sclerosis. When I focus on those, everything becomes about that and about the negativity related about that. When I focus on what I can't do because of those, then that becomes my life. I can't do anything, and I was like that for quite a while. But when I focus on what I can do, my life becomes about what I can do. And so, here I am doing this because I can do it. And it's like, one thing I wanted to hit on was my running. I'm on a never-ending run streak. Today is day 701. I haven't run yet, but I'm going to right after this show. I was going to before, but didn't want to get all wore out and out of breath. um, but, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that my running, is so phenomenal and keeps me going simply because the easiest, simplest way I have to explain it is that when I'm running, my chi is at an optimal level. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Eastern medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, but chi is loosely translated as vital life force energy. Okay, maybe it's translated straight across, but chi is vital life force energy, and I find mine strongest when so long as I keep running, keep in motion, and that's where a lot of my positive energy comes from. Is I just keep that momentum going, stay in action. Here recently, during this quarantine, with this coronavirus thing and the quarantine, social distancing, the restaurant where I work has gone down to limited service, and so my position was temporarily cut out. And so I'm doing DoorDash deliveries, to fill in for that. So or to help fill in for that. And what I found this here just in the past couple days. I've been doing it for a week or two, doing the DoorDash deliveries, and from what I've found in the past couple days is that since I'm not on my feet moving all the time, it's definitely cut my momentum down. I'm not sure if anyone else can relate, but yeah. Anyway, I've realized that in the past couple days when I get off work and go to, think about going for my daily run, it's like, oh man, I don't really feel like it. It's just sort of, I'm in that sitting stage. I've been sitting in my car all day doing deliveries. But, I'd forced myself to get out there and at least go for my mile walk to keep my streak going. Yeah, and if you ever hear me or see me in my posts or hear me talking about streaking, I'm not actually out there on the street streaking. I'm run streaking, I'm running or walking every day, just like a hashtag I use is hashtag a body in motion stays in motion. And that's just it, momentum. I got to keep going, got to keep moving. Not sure if you've been following my posts or heard me before or familiar with my story, but July 14th, 1986, was playing out in the greenbelt behind our house with some friends looking for a good place to build a fort. I was adventurous, climbing to the tippy top of a tree so I could see all over the area since it was the tallest one around, and I fell 40 feet, suffered a traumatic brain injury, was in a coma for 2.5 months. So they said I'd never walk again, and yeah, I'm running every day, so that's out the window. I obviously do more than walk now. And I now live with multiple sclerosis. I've been diagnosed as being at the early stages of relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, meaning that the symptoms of my multiple sclerosis basically come and go, and yeah, it's like have a relapse of symptoms and then it goes into remission. A relapse symptoms goes into remission. I haven't had a technical relapse of my symptoms since I started running, and that was April 30th, 2016. So yeah, I'm doing super good so far as that goes. Oh yeah, come to think of it, I'm coming up on 4 years of running. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but One thing I wanted to read out of my book, Live the Passionate Life and Quit Settling for Survival. My autobiography I wrote 3 years ago. Wait. Shoot. Coming up on 4 years ago was when I wrote this. Um, I'll just read this one paragraph here. That being said, I have touched on the three types of lives we can lead: prisoned, pleasant, or passionate. In the prisoned life, we simply make choices as they come, not really weighing out any consequences of our choices and dealing with whatever happens to come our way, whether we like it or not. In the pleasant life, we weigh out the consequences of our choices and opt for the more positive consequences, so long as we can remain comfortable and do not have to take much action, thus staying in our pleasant state. In the passionate life, we certainly weigh out the consequences of all our choices, always opting for the more positive ones, regardless of the actions that must be taken, because we are passionate about living a positive and progressive life. And that paragraph for me sums it up, what this life is all about. So far as like, what do I want out of life? What kind of life do I want to lead? And it's like, I want to keep up the momentum, keep up the positive momentum, keep going in that direction, and just create the best life I can for myself and for others. It's like I'm not just here in this world for myself, I'm in this world with others. So, it's like I'm not just going to create the best life I can for myself, I got to watch out for others too. So, it's like, yeah, let's see. Like I said, I'm just sort of freestyling, so, yeah, I'll just spit this out real quick. Mention this book, The Motivation Manifesto by Brendon Burchard. It's The Motivation Manifesto, 9 Declarations to Claim Your Personal Power. And, side note, this is my personally signed copy. I got signed by Brendon Burchard when I met him at a conference in Seattle a few years ago, like four and a half years ago. But yeah, this book just totally, I read this book and it totally inspired me, got me going to write my book. And I'm going to read this here real quick. The last paragraph of the Declaration of Personal Power at the beginning. Okay, first I'll read the 9 declarations of personal power. 1, we shall meet life with full presence and power. 2, we shall reclaim our agenda. 3, we shall defeat our demons. 4, we shall advance with abandon. 5, we shall practice joy and gratitude. 6, we shall not break integrity. 7, we shall amplify love. 8, we shall inspire greatness. 9, we shall slow time. And the way Brendon Burchard wrote this section, the Declaration of Personal Power, he wrote it like the Declaration of Independence. First, I'll read this first paragraph. There comes a time in the lives of those destined for greatness when we must stand before the mirror of meaning and ask, why, having been endowed with the courageous heart of a lion, do we live as mice? And the whole thing reads like the Declaration of Independence. But the last paragraph here, we therefore, as free men and women of courage and conscience, appealing to our Creator for the strength to live our intentions, do, in the name of our destiny, solemnly publish and declare that our lives are, and of right ought to be, free and independent. We declare that we are absolved from allegiance to those who oppress or hurt us, and that all social connections between us and them are and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent persons, we have the full power to exert our true strength, live our dreams, find peace, create wealth, love openly those who have our hearts, contribute without fear or permission, strive for personal greatness, serve the common good, and do all other acts and things that independent and motivated persons have the right to do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we pledge our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor. And yeah, I just wanted to read that real quick, just to let you in on where I'm coming from and what inspired me to get me going. And I hope it helps you. And that's why I wrote my autobiography. Just to tell my story and hope it helps other people. I hope it helps you if you read my book. Yeah. Well, it's real short. Anyway, I'll read the little intro I wrote to my book. I was going to start my book with a long, detailed autobiography. I've decided to keep it short since that is not the primary reason I wanted to write a book. I ran across this quote a while back. To be inspired is great. To inspire is incredible. That is why I want to write a book. I want to inspire others to greatness, to strive to carry on and be better than our circumstances may seemingly dictate us to be. I have read books by and watched videos of great motivators and inspirational speakers such as Brendon Burchard, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, and Tony Robbins. There are probably more I could list, which there's plenty more I could list. But my point is that I have been inspired by these people to keep moving forward, and now it is my turn to do the inspiring. Life has tried to put me down. Life has tried to put me down and keep me there so many times, but I just keep getting back up and moving forward. Sometimes it was a downfall brought about by my own bad decision making about how to play the hand I was dealt. Other times I was simply dealt a bad hand. After all I have been through, it is obvious to me that God has a plan for me. At 40 years old, I wrote this book 4 years ago. I still have no clue exactly what the precise plan is. I may never know the full details of it, but I'm just going to keep moving forward in a positive direction, and maybe I will discover the full itinerary of what I was born to do. When I have shared bits and pieces of my story with people through the years, I have been told I am inspiring. I have thought a few times about putting my story in print, but haven't done so before this. A couple of years ago, a young woman began working as a server at the restaurant where I was washing dishes. Regardless of the positive facade I was showing the world at the time, I was in one of my Eeyore states of mind, and have been for a while. Woe is me. I'm never going to amount to anything. Life sucks, and then you die. That was my attitude I had at the time. The new server had this positive vibe or aura around her that I latched onto. I woke one morning and thought, why am I in such a dark state of negativity? Screw that noise. I have so much to be grateful for. Negativity, exit stage left. Let the good times roll. I made a gratitude list and once again came to the realization that while my life may not be what I'd like it to be at any particular point in time, I'm still alive and not 6 feet under as of yet. So why not be grateful and positive? Some days my mind seems to be all about negative thinking, but I simply need to think about the things I am grateful for, and the negative thinking melts away. I still wash dishes at the same restaurant, and I'm sitting at home on my day off, not wanting to give in to negative thinking and limited beliefs. Instead, I am going to focus on positive thinking and unlimited beliefs. I may have limitations between having multiple sclerosis and the residual effects of a traumatic brain injury I suffered at the age of 11, but I can choose to sit here and focus on what I can't do, or I can focus on what I can do. Focus is where it's at for me. Today, I choose to focus on being positive and productive. I have never written a book before. I only know that I have been inspired to inspire, and since I have been told that I am inspirational, I have decided to put in print what people say is inspiring so that I can inspire more people. If you followed that and you're still with me, kudos to you. I thank you for opening this book, and my hope is that when you finish reading, you thank yourself. And yeah, uh, I just wanted to read that little intro to my book and, give you a little intro to me, did, why I wrote my book. You know, I've, it's when I, it's like Gary Vaynerchuk, like he talks about in a lot of his content is, I've heard him say it many times before, is, trying to get it right so I don't say it wrong and misquote him. But and he even alluded to this when I had my appointment with him back in New York City at Vaynermedia. He was, it's like watching me saying I was watching his videos to get fired up, watching other motivational, inspirational guys, watching their videos and reading their books to get all fired up is good and cool. But it's like, I know I have it in me to, put out my put out my own content and help other people, inspire them, be motivational to them, well, true motivation, it said, comes from within. Whereas, you may get inspired by someone else, you actually motivate yourself to go do that. And, so it's like, but I was getting fired up by watching Gary V's videos, but my, the next step is, it's like I was inspired by the Motivation Manifesto, fired up by that, and the next step was to make my own content, write my own book. And so that's what got me going when I had already written my book and self-published it through, I self-published it through Balboa Press, self-publishing division at Hay House, and at any rate, in looking for all the promotion with the package that I got is on, it's sold through Amazon and Barnes and Noble, so no other PR came with my package, so it's all on me, and I knew that from the beginning. So, taking steps, to keep the momentum going, I, ran across one of Gary V's videos on YouTube, found out he was CEO of Vaynermedia, started following him, watching his content, loved his content, and so anyway, found out he was going to be speaking real, sort of close to home, about 120, 130 miles away. So I took the day off work, went to go hear him speak in Portland, Oregon, and at Dutch Brothers Annual Leadership Conference. Introduced myself to Gary V. When I got up on the mic during Q&A, told him I had written a book, MS, brain injury, I'm a runner, run all the time. And I got the momentum, I'm still moving forward, and at any rate, it's like Gary V broke it down. He's like, okay, let me guess, you want to know how to make that go better. And in response to that, he flew me back to New York City to spend the day with him and his team at Vaynermedia so they could show me how to do it. And so I could find out how to make that go better. And Gary V gave me the 18-cent strategy for Instagram, a strategy to help build your follower base. You know, one of the steps in building marketing and promotion. Um, you know, yeah, writing notes to prepare myself would be beneficial, but yeah, at any rate, you know, that's sort of, you know, back in the early days anyway, right after I wrote my book. Not necessarily right after I wrote my book, but one of the next steps was meeting Gary V and getting going with that. And to last I checked on my author's workspace or whatever, I forget the name of the title of the area now, but my own little area on my publisher's website. Last I looked, I still hadn't sold many copies, or as many as I'd like to sell, you know, but it's like I got my content is out there. I'm moving forward. You know, I've got a podcast. I need to get going with my YouTube videos. Just did a radio interview last week, my first actual radio interview on this station here. On a friend's radio show. Met another friend who you know, was the one who interviewed me, and you know, we friended each other on social media, and we're in contact now. You know, it's just like that's how the world works. You just keep meeting people and making connections, and that's how this whole thing works. You know, so far as making content, getting my book out there, trying to, you know, maybe help and inspire some other people. And that's, you know, this one, I'm in this mastermind online with Brittany Michaelchuk from up in Canada, and I'm in this mastermind group of hers that she hosts. You know, we're on Zoom calls once a week, and you know, it's like one of the guys I met in there, my good friend Heath. He has a business down in Eugene, Oregon. It's called Kaleidoscopes, and we're closely connected now because he's in the business of helping people with brain injuries. He's had a brain injury himself, and he's also a life coach, a coach. I forget exactly what kind of coach. I think a life coach. And that's where my mind is, you know, sometimes remember things, sometimes forget little things like that, but he's a coach. At any rate, you know, and it's just like connect with him, and through that I'm now connected with so many other people that have brain injuries, you know, and the possibility of helping them, you know, maybe in helping and inspiring them, helping and inspiring people with multiple sclerosis and other disabilities, just to, you know, maybe not accept the limitations. I accepted my limitations, but I accepted, you know, most of pretty much 99% or 100% of my limitations. 100%. I accepted that, you know, they were not going to keep me down, not going to keep me there. I remember waking up September 9th, 1986. I woke up here in Tacoma, Washington, maybe more the University Place section of Tacoma. I'm not sure exactly what section that would be in, but I remember waking up at Orchard Park Nursing Home, waking up from my coma after two and a half months of my coma. I've always gone with 2.5. That's a number that's stuck in my head. But anyway, after waking up waking up from a coma that I was in for a couple months, and finding out where I am, finding out why I'm there. I didn't know why I was in the nursing home, um, but waking up and seeing this wheelchair next to my bed, finding out that I may never walk again. I wasn't down with that. I was an 11-year-old boy, I was full of energy, and uh, I wasn't about to, go at this like I'm never going to walk again. So I was in physical therapy and walking with assistance, um, really labored walking, but walking nonetheless. Within a week or maybe a week and a half, they're at the nursing home. Before I was transferred to Good Samaritan Hospital in Puyallup for rehab, and it's like there at Good Sam, I got into the children's therapy unit. My physical therapist there, Larry Murray, never forget him. Never forget what he said. Because I was in physical therapy there, and he'd asked me to do exercises and walking and everything, and some stuff I'd say I can't. Ouch, that hurts. I can't move that way. And Larry, knew that I was into new Star Wars and Yoda, Master Yoda. So, he threw some of that at me, and he says, Shane, I do not want to hear I can't. Instead, I want to hear you say, I will try harder, Master Larry. So, here I am still trying harder, Master Larry. Um, still trying harder. Back in 2002, I got on my mountain bike and rode Seattle to Portland. Over the course of 2 days, took me a total of 15 and a half hours riding time, but I did it. And, I put thousands of miles on my bicycles since my brain injury. And, it's like I put many, many miles of running, maybe 1,000 or two, I don't know, somewhere in there. I forget the exact number that I came up with or that I calculated. But, since I started running 4 years ago, and, I just keep the momentum going, keep moving forward. It's like when this opportunity was presented to me, at first I was like, I was thinking, well, should I do it? Or, I don't know. Is this one of those things that's one of these opportunities that's presented to me, but maybe that's the only thing, it's just supposed to be presented to me and I'm not supposed to do anything about it, but here I am, I'm on the radio. So, I figured I wanted to go with it. And besides, it's like one of the first thoughts in my mind when I was presented with this opportunity was, like I just heard Gary Vee say the other day, he was talking about, maybe it was an old video I was watching, but he was talking about content. And, don't worry about and this may be some advice for other people looking to get content out there. When you're making content, don't worry about, the exact type of don't necessarily worry about the exact type of content. What are other people going to think? What opinions are you going to get from other people? Just make your content. It's your content. Just make it. Just make and just do. Like Nike says, just do it. So that's what I'm doing here. Just doing it. Just putting my positive vibes out there, putting my positive energy, my optimism, putting that out into the world. That's what I'm doing with my podcast, and that's what I'm doing with this online radio show. One of my positive one of the big positive motivating factors in my life, besides well, of course, family, friends, and family members that showed me this way of life. But I, I got into soon after my brain injury. I got into drinking alcohol and doing drugs. Um, fell in with the wrong crowd. Uh, Soon after my brain injury, I started drinking and doing drugs and smoking cigarettes when I was 12, went till I was 16 and a half. Uh, just totally good. I was going to school, but not doing my work much. Some just enough to skate by, I guess. Um, it's like always getting in trouble at home, trouble with the law, trouble at school. Uh, stealing cigarettes from stores, uh, doing other stuff, breaking the law. And finally hit my rock bottom when I was 16 and a half years old, which I know to some people might seem really young, but hey, I'm glad I got it out of the way so that I could live a pretty decent life. Actually, my life has been phenomenal. I can't even, I'm just so grateful for all the blessings I've had in my life. Uh, like when I forget, I was 17 or 18, was my first radio experience, or my other radio experience. My friend Bob went by the radio name Robert E. Lee on the Country Gold Network. I'm not even sure if the Country Gold Network is around anymore, but anyway, I was helping him out for a little bit, uh, just just pulling requests and promos for him, helping him out Friday night and Saturday morning. Working graveyard, and uh, there was one night where he went downstairs to make some coffee, and he was gone a little longer than expected, and so this air was dead after the song ended, and so I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Well, I'd been watching him, so I just jumped over there and got on the air, got on the mic, pushed the right buttons. Hey, this is Shane on the Country Gold Network, and I just picked it up from there, making my, doing what he did, making my own content. Um, well, according to the radio, not going totally off on my own, introducing the next song, and there you go. It's life is just like that. You see what needs to be done, you hear what needs to be done, you're taught what needs to be done. Just do it. Um, yeah, but at any rate, with the drinking and drugging, I got into that whole scene, and then I found a new bunch of friends. Through, I was totally down, depressed, and everything, and about the rock bottom I had hit. Uh, and I decided not to drink or do drugs anymore because that's what got me to that rock bottom. 10 months later, I found myself at another bottom. Realized, that life couldn't go on like it was because I was at a jumping off place. I realized that, I had never dealt with anything before, just, uh, you know, basically drank or drugged it away, and just covered it up like that, self-medicated, if you will. Um, and I wasn't going to go back there because I didn't want my life to get the way it had been. So I was just going to kill myself and end it all right there. But I'm grateful that I got to that point because I was able to. I opened up to my mom. My mom just happened to ask me why I had been looking so blue, so depressed for the past few days, and opened up, told her everywhere I had been, everything I had done, or what I was about to do. And she suggested I go to this 12-step meeting, and I knew she was a member of the program, and so I figured, okay, cool, the thought of suicide went out the window. Uh, first got shot, and it's like about an hour later, I was at a doctor's appointment, and for some odd reason, I forget why, but I opened up to him, told him where I had been, everything I had done, or what I was about to do, and that I was going to this. Uh, anyway, told him how I was feeling, and he spins around in his little desk chair and opens his desk drawer and whips out this green book, and I knew what it was. It was a schedule for the 12-step meetings. And he opens it up, says, "Hey, Shane, there's one here in the town where you live, back in Enumclaw. You better get going so you can make it on time." Um, and he said he'd meet me there, and I made it to that meeting. Mom dropped me off, and what do you know? He met me there. He was there. So, and it's like I knew I was home, knew I was where I was meant to be. And it's just like, from that moment on, uh, it's just life has just gotten so much better. You know, once I started following directions, doing what they suggested, these suggested 12 steps and everything that went along with that, the just anything and everything they suggested. So far as having the better life, working towards the better life, without, you know, self-medicating. Um, but without it going into all that, or going any further into all that, I, I just kept going forward with my life, uh, and these days it's like, it's all about moving forward instead of getting all down and depressed about, my position being cut during this quarantine, to get back to after the quarantine. Um, I would, get back to my job after the quarantine. Instead of getting down about that, I just kept, okay, what's the next step moving forward? You know, um, maybe that moment sucked, but what can I do to move forward in a positive direction? Always looking for the next positive step forward, the next right step. Um, going backwards or falling backwards is, unless it's accidental, is not the direction I want to go in. I'm a runner. I run forwards, not backwards. Well, every now and again I run backwards, but sometimes when I do that, I trip and fall and hit my noggin. So, I'm not going there again. um, yeah, and just keep moving forward. Um, yeah. Okay. I guess I'm might be nearing the end since I'm losing total track here. But yeah, I'm just uh, excited to actually be part of the VT Radio Universal family. Um, be a producer of my own show on here. Uh, and I have I got out my notebook the other day and made almost full page list of people that I'm going to be bringing on as guests, interviewees. Um, people I'm going to be bringing on my show to interview and put on my podcast, Positive Vibes, because that's what it's all about. Um, is positive vibes and positivity. Just making positive content and putting that out into the world. Uh, I'm not even going to talk about all the negativity out there, but it's just positive vibes. uh, living a better life than I have in the past, living the best life. That's what I'm trying to do for myself these days, and that that's all that's what I'm trying to do by writing my own book, trying to inspire and maybe motivate some other people to you know move forward and work toward living their best life, so that more people will be living their best life, uh, so that maybe we can work together to create the best world. um, uh, but and one thing Gary V's talked about, I heard Gary V talking about recently, was that you know what it all boils down to is happiness. Are you happy? I know I work on my happiness and being positive, and it's like 99 to 100% of the time I am, so long as I stay focused on what I can do, what I can't, instead of what I can't do. And with that, I'm just going to, yeah, I'm going to end it right here and just say that, just end it like I end my daily posts on Facebook and Insta. Oh, by the way, actually, I'm not going to end it right quick or right yet. I'm going to first. You can find me. I need to update it, but my website is www.shanenikolic.com. That's SHAN as in Nancy, SHANEN as in Nancy, ICOLICH, just one word, ShaneNikolic.com. That's my website. You can find me at Shane.Nikolic on Instagram. And my Twitter handle is not coming to mind at the moment. I think that one's Nikolic Shane, one word. And let's see. And of course, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, you know my name, Shane Nikolic. And my book, again, is Live the Passionate Life and Live the Passionate Life and Quit Settling for Survival. And it's available on Amazon as hardback, paperback, and it's on the Amazon Kindle if you want to get the ebook version on Kindle, or it's on Barnes & Noble as hardback, paperback, and available on the Barnes & Noble Nook, their e-reader. And or you can it's also on Google Play. My book is yeah, and that's about that. You can also find me on YouTube, and my channel on there is just Shane Nikolic. As far as I remember, that's the name of it. Or you can find links to all my different social media at the bottom of the homepage on my website. And that's about where that is. And my time is up, so I better get out of here. And just to let you know, my last words for this, I just want to remind you to stay kind, optimistic, and grateful, and have a phenomenal day. And with that, I'm out. So, ciao.